Alright, welcome back to Lesson 3 in how to make a social network with CodeIgniter. I'm Rod Nelson with Northwood Web Design. What we're going to do today is we're going to dive into the login system, so let's get started. Alright, first we need to create our login template. Our login template is in our views directory inside the includes. We got it right here. Okay, all we did was removed the nav. If you take a look at our regular template, you see I've got the nav in here. So that's all we really need to do right now for the template. Okay, now we need to make some changes to our user controller. So we're going to go in here to our controller. We need to select user. Okay, I've made a few changes here. We're not going to worry about the changes here at the top. I'll explain those when we get into the validate login. Anyway, what we're going to do is we need the login. We changed this to login page for the title, and we changed our content to user login, which we load the login down. Go into views, user. We now have login PHP here. Okay, that's great. That's what we need. And then we're loading our new template that we just created here. Okay, now we need to add some things to our auto load so we don't have to load them manually. So we're going to go into the config, auto load PHP. You see auto load here. What we need to add is your library should be empty. We need to add form validation because we're going to be working with forms here in the next one. Okay, so, and we already have our URL helper here. We also need the form helper. Once we got those, that's it for that file. Alright, next we need to create our login.php. It's in the views user directory right here. Okay, now this is pretty much what we need. We open our PHP tag. I just threw some break returns in here to push it down a couple spaces on the screen. And next, I like to use form field set. Putting login in here will put your label at the top. If you don't want to use this, you don't have to. Okay, then we're going to be echoing this UL class errors. What this is, this gives us a chance to put errors in there. You'll see here when we get done what happens. I'll also be jumping back to the user.php to show you how we use this when we get to the validation part. Okay, so then we're going to echo any validation errors. That's how we echo those out. And then if we have any login errors, right now we're not using this one at all. That'll be there when we go to use the database to make sure the person's actually in the database. Right now we're not going to use the database. Okay, so let's get to the regular part of the form. Okay, we're going to go form open. We're going to use user validate login. That's going to be inside our user controller, and the function is validate login. Okay, pretty simple. Then we're going to add our label for our username, which is username : and username, and then we're going to put the input form right here and put a space in between. Then we're going to do the same with the password label and password. We're going to put some more space in there. Now, we're not actually using the remember me function right now, but what we're doing is remember me is the name of it, and if it's checked, it'll come up with accept, and this is our actual label right here. I've got a couple of blank spaces in there. That's what all that mess is at the end. I just like to have a little bit of space between the box and the name. So then we have our submit button. As you see, it's a submit type, and name of it is login. Then we close our form, and we close our field set, and then I just put a couple more returns in there so that we got space between there and the footer. And that'll be it for this file. Alright, as I explained before, we're going to be going in to set these the validations and stuff here. I forgot to explain this line. What this is this will set our delimiters for the validations, because we're already open a UL and we want each one inside. So this will set the delimiters on either side of it. But now what we need to do is we need to go and do this validate login. That's back in our user.php file in our controllers. Right here, controllers, user. Okay, I got it closed up here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're creating the validate login. Now, I have the model this we don't need right now, so don't even worry about that. That'll come in the next lesson when we set up the database. What we're doing is this form validation, so we're using the validation library, and we're using the function called set rules. Now, if you remember right, we had our username and password in the last. Okay, and we got them set to this default username password. Now, trim will automatically remove any bad characters, and it's required. So if you don't put a name in for your username, it's going to come back and tell you. If you don't put a name, you don't put in a password, it's going to tell you. Now we can set this for other things. We're going to be setting this in when we do the registration. You'll see that our password will require so many letters or numbers. Okay, so pretty much what we're doing is if this returns false, so in other words, if this required or this required are not met, it will send this back to the index, which is this up here. If not, it's going to, if we type in both a name and a password, it's going to redirect us to site.index. Now, all I did for site index was we opened it up. I took the index.php that we had in user from the last lesson and just moved it up here into site. I actually had to create the site directory as well. We'll be using this, so okay, what we need now is I need to explain this. Actually, no, we do not need to explain this. This will be in the next one when we get errors when we're using the user model. Right now we're not using the model, so we're just using this to make sure we can log in. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, here's the site, our site controller. As you see, it's the exact same controller we had originally in our user controller, so that's what we're going to be taking to it. So that's pretty much it for this video. This part, we're just got to do some CSS, which we'll be doing here real quick. Okay, now for the boring part. This is where we pretty up the website. So, when we left off last time, I forgot to show you the footer. Footer is really simple. If you want to use it, you don't have to use a footer. We're just using clear both. That clears both directions so that it can take the full length of the screen. Then we just change the background color to black, the color for the text to white, and then we're aligning the text to the center. All I'm using that for right now is to show you guys what lesson that the website is complete to. Okay, now if you remember right, we used our field set back in our login.php. Now, we use the margin auto to center it, and then our background is black, our text is white. Now this will set the width of the field set, which is 20 EM. And then I like radiuses. You guys don't have to use these. I just like playing with them. I like my stuff nice and round. Bordered radius just sets your radius for it's supposed to work for Internet Explorer, but it don't. But then for Firefox, you need to set this up. And WebKit is pretty much any other ones. I believe Chrome and the Apple one work with that. And then I just put padding of 1 EM all the way around. It's just to keep kind of everything away from the edge. Now, legend. This is where we did the first field set in the top. Okay, all I'm doing is we set the the text color to black. I set the background to gray so it's kind of offset it a little bit. So, and like I said, you can change these colors to any color you want. I'm just using black and white just to make it easy. That way you're not the colors don't look off and stuff. It's easier this way instead of trying to make trying to decide which colors I want to use. Okay, and then I put padding of 0.4 EM and 1 EM. What this does, this puts 0.4 at the top and 1 EM at left and right. This is top and bottom, left and right. Okay, then I just played with the borders again. I found 15 works really nice. You'll see it here in just a few minutes. Now if you remember right, we set up that error class. And all we're doing is setting that to red. That's all we need, and that's real simple. I believe that's all we have for CSS. Yep. So in a few seconds here, I'll show you what the website looks like. We'll attempt to log in and see if everything works. Alright, here we are at the website. You can check this out at noobonline.com. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to test our rules here. So first what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a username. We're just going to use hello. And we're going to hit login. Okay, so our password field is required. Okay, now we're going to type in password. And our username is required. Now we're going to leave both fields empty, and it tells us both fields are required. So we know those fields are required. So we're going to just type in hello again, and we're going to put in a password, and we're going to log in. And here we are. We're back at our home page. And if you notice here, we're at site index. So everything's working properly, and we can move on to lesson 4, which we'll be doing the registration system. Hopefully get the database set up in there, and we'll start registering users.